And although we have Washington in the background, we should have gotten rid of it because I'm tired of it. We were there for 3 days and slept all day today trying to get over it with nightmares and horrible place. So, do you know the president threw South Africa out of the G20 meeting? Who would have the guts to throw South Africa out of the meeting? Right. Donald Trump. Now, why did he do it? Because the country is corrupt from the top to about as far down the bottom as he can get. And it is also becoming a fast friend of the country that wants to take over the world, China. And they do many things behind our back with China, without requesting them for years not to do it. But they feel they're very special because we can't do anything to them because they're black. Well, they met the wrong guy. If you're black, you help the United States, he's going to love you. If you're black and you screw the United States, he's going to hate you. And white works the same way. He's got one focus. Focuses us. And the G20, which I think is going to be at his golf course in Miami.
This weekend?
I think so.
This weekend?
I think so. We've got to check. Maybe it's next weekend. We're coming up. South Africa is whining all over the place that they would cut out.
Okay, interesting.
Also, the climate thing will come up, but they failed in their climate meeting to even make climate a priority. And there's no question that they overhyped, if not created, climate change, global warming. I don't know if they did it directly to make billions. They did. Was it a fraud scheme? Was it a political fraud scheme that resulted unexpectedly in a lot of money? I don't know. But it sure was a terrible distraction and a terrible problem for the American people. The grand jury has again refused to indict Letitia James. Letitia is now angry that they won't indict her, and she is now going to go out and try to kill a few people and see if that works. But she's not going to do it in Manhattan because Bragg, might give her an award. She's going to try to pick some other place where they actually indict people. The House passed a massive defense. I guess it's really a supplemental, right? They pumped $901 billion into the military. That's what you call peace through strength. That backs up exactly what he was talking about. And it couldn't have come at a better time because he's in the middle of all kinds of difficult situations in various parts of the world. The most important one of which is the one here in this hemisphere with Venezuela, because they should be blocked out. The Cubans should be blocked out, and there's only one way to block out the Cubans. It's to get rid of Chavez. And there's a lot of good reasons for getting rid of Chavez. Mostly it's to keep the people of Venezuela alive, and hopefully at the same time get rid of the degradation that's occurring to a place where we spent a lot of American treasure and a lot of American lives to fix it. Colombia, which is basically siding with South Africa in their willingness to do business with Russia and with China. So these are important efforts, and for the judges to just do we're against it. The judge in the Kilmar Abrego Garcia case must be released from immigration while his case proceeds. If I'm correct, this guy is on tape beating the crap out of his wife.
I don't know if yeah.
And then she's on tape saying he beat the crap out of her. And then she withdraws it and later on says it's not true when she's under his authority and he can beat the crap out of her if she doesn't say what she's supposed to say. That's what happens when you have in New York corrupt New York judges who are put there by the Democratic county leader and therefore have to make these unfair, completely biased political rulings, and then get to do personal injury cases and make a fortune with the network that has been set up for them and for other judges looking to make an outside income. And they do a Nancy Pelosi. And they start getting inside information, and they start trading on it, and they try to make deals, etc. So I would say that I don't know if we shouldn't demand that the changes be made at the UN. I mean, I'm very frustrated. I'm a very bad source of the UN because I just believe we should get the hell out. I do not know what good it does us. No, I can't say that. I do know it does make some good when a very good speech is given there and the American position gets out. Trump has done that several times. We know some of the famous speeches that were given there by people who appeared to be very left but really weren't. So, like Adlai Stevenson. So, I'd like to see what happens if we open it. Shall we take a short break?
Should we? Yeah.
Yeah, this way we'll be able to organize everything.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because we like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's Coffee. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax, channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Welcome back to America's Mayor Live in Palm Beach, California. Palm Beach, Florida. California. Oh my God, who wants to go to California? Well, we told you that the climate people are really taking a beating for overestimating, right? And not only that, a lot of it's giving the room for the scientists that were on the other side to come out and tell you a much more, first of all, in some cases, a totally contradictory picture. And in some cases, a very different interpretation of very much the same data. There are definitely any number of opinions on climate change, and the idea that it settles science is well, actually, it emerges from an authoritarian heart. Science is not. People think of science as a yes/no enterprise, and yeah, it is a yes/no enterprise in the very few times in which it can get absolute truth. But most of the time, because we're constrained as human beings and our ability to observe the world, we have tentative truth. Most of the things science says should be honestly attended by a percentage of possibility as opposed to reality. That's even true in medicine. Because even though we tested and it works out right, we never know what happens after 10 years. Certain medicines, particularly in the vaccine category, can have unknown problems numerous years from now. So really, the only safe way to green light things like that is to have had a lot of history with them, or something comparable, something very, very comparable that shows you the difficulties and what they did to us on September 11 is completely incomprehensible. First of all, they changed the method of vaccination or the whole protocol of vaccination. A vaccination is intended to cure and prevent, not to cure, to prevent the disease from coming back to you again. So you've got to go through the symptoms of whatever it is. And when you take it, now you are immunized against it. Well, that was never the case with the COVID vaccine. And they were very, very careful in the way they presented it to make it appear as if it was a complete cure of the disease. But the little careful language below the box told us that it had lots of dangers and it may not be. So President Biden, who you could imagine wouldn't be impressed with this at all, just went out immediately and said, if you don't take the vaccine, you're a killer, which had to have encouraged a lot of people who are now very ill and maybe died to take the vaccine at a very early stage. He later changed it to after he did all of his moral indignation about the fact that if you weren't taking the vaccine or you weren't wearing the mask, you were seeking to kill your fellow citizens. When he found out that taking the mask had very little to do with whether you could transmit or not, and taking the vaccine was a mixed bag, he still continued with a lot of it. And those are outrageous things because you got an American killed doing that. We're straightening that out now, slowly but surely. We've probably got 80% of the Americans along on it. But that was a very, very difficult job to change propaganda into the truth. Another thing that's a really difficult job to do is to get rid of the hatred for Jewish people at Columbia University. So if you're sending your son or daughter to Columbia, and you care about anti-Semitism being taught the right way, don't send them to Columbia. They're getting fined now for another employee. The Columbia University public health instructor ranted to 400 incoming students about how the school's prominent Jewish donors only made their gifts to launder blood money and denied the existence of the Jewish state, according to a stunning report in the Ivy League Journal. Why the great concentration of the Jewish people? I mean, I understand why from a religious point of view. I do not understand from these non-religious and heretical people why they're so consumed with trying to show that Judaism stood for bad things, not good things. And Jesus, who they reject, was very, very capable of saying, it doesn't matter what your past was, come to me and you'll be saved. A very heartwarming and a very encouraging message to people who feel they are desperate, right? A Columbia University public health instructor ranted to 400 incoming students about how the school's prominent Jewish donors only made their gifts to launder blood money. I mean, this is ridiculous. Professor raising money for Hamas. The shocking examples in the report are a harsh reminder of how deep and pervasive anti-Semitism is at Columbia. Few, if any, of the professors have held accountable. Those who were have been taken back just about. The vast majority are teaching today the tenure is not a free pass to violate student civil rights, and real change will only come through accountability. Columbia promises to have done, but they've done less than half. So don't rest assured that because the president got these agreements, when they go off into the, they're going to just do what the hell they want, right?
Well, academics, they're good at coming up with other names for stuff and calling it their own. So
Absolutely.
DEI, what will it be called tomorrow?
Well, I think that the main issue facing us right now is how the heck how do we get this Ukrainian war over? See, I would have. This shows you the bad faith of India. When you're in a situation like this, you are in a war, which appears to be a stalemate. You take a ceasefire, right?
Right.
Well, you take a ceasefire because, well, I guess
If
that.
you're losing.
Yeah,
This is if you're losing and you're bogged down.
right.
And you don't really see
Well,
a
they're
way out.
bogged down, but they keep thinking by doing it they get unbogged down.
Right.
If keep it up. If they keep it up, they will eventually get unbogged down.
Right. Right.
Heard some statement about insanity that went something like, keep doing the same thing and expecting the same results.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
No one would reject that, right? I mean, that's a very honest and honorable view that has a great deal of support in the facts. But I don't know if you want to be another London when we put people in jail if they say anything that's harmful to the Jewish people or anybody else. Now, I think they do it selectively based on their political biases, but they got a lot of people in jail right now saying very bad things about Antifa. If they got my video, they'd probably put me in solitary confinement. That's no way to deal with speech. That isn't. I don't know. As long as London does stuff like that, we can say they're really they're an ally, but do they share our philosophy? No.
Well, and in all fairness to London, they've sort of been overtaken in a lot of ways.
They
by the
have. They have
migration
no.
crisis.
They have,
Maybe they got a bad taste in their mouth from the Thomas Paine days.
that
Yeah, well, look what free speech got.
darn
lost
printing press.
Yeah, we lost the colonies over those damn.
Well, Europe never had free speech.
Right.
They don't
It's
have
monarchy.
it.
That's a very good point. And so many young Americans, Mayor, you should have a course, right? Because so many young Americans, they have no idea just how rare it is in the course of human history. But even today, it is to have the freedom of expression that they have here in America.
Look at
Right.
the scientists that were burnt and exiled for saying that the Earth revolves around the sun.
Huh?
And
But even now today, right? Even now, right? I think a lot of our generations, even younger than mine, maybe even mine, just are not aware of how rare it is. And in the liberal in this country, even in the past 20 years, since I've been growing my formative years, they've tried to this new narrative, Mayor. I don't know if you've seen it. Oh, America's free. Well, so is 180 countries around the world, right? They tried to almost make it like
Yeah, but none
Do-
in the Middle East, jackass.
No,
None.
yeah.
Zero.
Certainly not where
And not
Hamas
one
is currently
and not
ruling.
one that's a completely unquestioning ally of the United States of America.
Right,
So makes a big difference, and that's what our foreign policy is about.
right.
Did Trump answer that? I'm sure they did.
Yeah, well, we'd have to find it. Give me a second. So, I'll have to find it. Sorry, I don't have that ready.
So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the story that Ted has been dying to talk about and has great insights into it. It was very, very interesting.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal, 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast.
These deals are
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans. No Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnels to Towers at T2T.org. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnels to Towers at T2T.org.
We're coming back. We're back.
We're back. Rudy Giuliani, America's Mail Live. Now, there is we mentioned this, we made reference to this. I'm not sure that we went into any detail about it because I'm not as detailed about it as Ted is. Now, as you know, Ted, my colleague, comes from Michigan. So he is involved in all things Michigan but one. But one. There is one in which you'll find this very difficult to deal with, but he has to as he grows up here. He is a traitor to Michigan on one thing. He roots for the Green Bay Packers. Now, he's going to give all kinds of facetious and euphemistic answers and all kinds of things here about how he's closer to... But he's from Michigan, and he doesn't root for the Detroit Lions. He roots for the Green Bay Packers. I can understand it. I'm second, third, fourth, at worst, root for the Green Bay Packers. And people think it's all Lombardi. It isn't. It's watching them on Thanksgiving television, and I've rooted for them over what should be his team, the Detroit Lions. But like my son, who chose the Yankees over the Mets, he chose the better team. And Ted,
Mayor,
I cannot figure out what's going on with this coach. I don't know if this is a legit firing. Or this is the guy. First of all, tell us about.
Well, here's Steven. Steven
also
Steven back in
Michigan.
Florida with us. And
So this is where we get two views on it. With
you get
Steven
two, one of them being a member of the arch rival. Well, one of the rivals. I'll get into that later. Michigan State. He's a Michigan State.
Go Green.
Which is one of not the rival for Michigan, but a close number two.
I know you have told me that Ohio is, but I've always thought Michigan State was.
Well, Michigan State people will tell you that.
They're both big
Yeah,
games.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. But going back, so the University of Michigan.
But in any event, let's get on this coach because
you got to be.
So you're on the spot rather than him, but it could be you too, or me. I'm for Notre Dame, and you say Notre Dame,
And we got to talk about that. We got to talk about that at some point. Maybe we do once a week sports show. So that we don't bore the non-sports people.
So tell me
with sports stuff.
Tell me, yeah, I would love to do that.
Well,
we should do that.
That's what Joe Rogan does whenever he does a big MMA podcast, so that all the regular listeners don't just lose.
So he'll do a separate.
He'll say this is an MMA podcast.
What does that mean?
Mixed martial arts. So cover the sporting.
So he'll warn his listeners going in. This is going to be
not a generic podcast for every listener. This is for the diehard MMA fans.
So this is the latest.
You could do a Yankee one that way.
I could. But tell me about this coach. I remember last weekend. Was the last weekend they lost the tough game or 2 weekends ago?
Last weekend to Ohio State.
I remember you were in a state. You were in a bad state of it.
Not really. I mean, we kind of expected to lose that one right this year against
but
Ohio State.
You were still upset.
So, of course, a lot of you have probably heard this, even if you're not a football fan, because it was such a bizarre story and how this happened. The head coach of the University of Michigan football team, Sharon Moore, was fired Wednesday with the University of Michigan, saying it found evidence that Moore had an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. That's the language they're using. An inappropriate relationship with
more details than that.
No more details from the university. Of course, there's a lot of reports now coming out. The latest as of tonight is that the interim president of the University of Michigan, because even at the presidential level, they've had some changes, had sent a message to students and faculty members with an update on Moore's firing. The interim president, Mr. Domenico Grasso, is Grasso Italian?
Usually.
Mr. Grasso said the investigation is ongoing and asked for anyone with information to share it to the compliance hotline. So that's interesting.
Information about just
About the situation,
about a
yeah.
loving relationship.
What did he want to do? He wanted to,
Yeah, this was sent out to all faculty members and staff.
Yeah.
This is the university president telling everybody, right? I could be a freshman student in Bio 101.
right.
I'm getting this email. If you have any information to share, to please do so. And he put in a special compliance hotline. So this is getting quite bizarre.
So he's looking for. I mean, that's a dangerous one. He can get all kinds of crap back.
And now there's been reports also that the athletic director was fired, but that is not the case.
I will say, as someone, and you're pretty, you've come from a background in the legal world. I feel like a lot of billable hours are happening with these,
wow,
hotlines and
yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
tip sheets and memos.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
So late Wednesday, and this is a nearby city near Ann Arbor in Saline, Michigan.
Oh, yeah, I know where that is.
Police had detained the former coach. He had been fired earlier in the day. And later that night, he was detained by police
But he was running away?
and transferred to Pittsfield Township, which is also nearby.
Did they think he was running away?
Well, this is where it gets interesting. Multiple reports indicate that he had been threatening himself
Commit suicide?
that he was suicidal.
So tell me a little
He
bit.
was still in jail as of tonight, and he's waiting to be arraigned. And reports are that he'll be
Well, being
arraigned.
in jail
He'll be
is from the
arraigned tomorrow.
Heights of royalty to the depths of servitude, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was coach of one of the 4 or 5, 10 most legendary football programs in the country, right? Not only that, but at a time in which they're having a very good year.
Yeah. I mean, sure. It wasn't a total disaster. They weren't expected to go to the playoffs this year, so
But they're having
I
a good
believe
year,
they
right?
did. Yeah.
They just
They're going to a
lost
big bowl. They're going to a big
They
bowl game.
lost a big game to Ohio State.
Yep.
How did they do at Michigan State, by the way?
They beat Michigan State. Michigan State had a real down year.
Okay. And what's their overall record?
The overall record for the Wolverines, they are currently 5th in the Big Ten.
Oh, that's
Well, in there, and that's
Yeah,
by the way, that's just in there.
Yeah.
So 9-3 overall. That's what I thought. I just wanted to double
well,
check.
that's a good record.
9-3 is real good.
Just given the fact you better be no worse than 2 losses to have a chance.
Right. I mean, look, if they had one more win, who knows what we're saying right now. And they're
So up until the game against Ohio, they had a chance, right? Like if they had beaten Ohio,
what do you mean?
they would have got a big bump.
Yeah, there's a chance they would have made the college football playoffs. Yes, I'm not sure. I believe that would have meant they played in the Big Ten championship game. So they really would have had
against
an
Ohio State.
opportunity. Indiana. That would have been against Indiana. Indiana's number
1.
Indiana's number 1 they finished the season number
What's
1 in the
their
country, undefeated, 12-0,
And what about Ohio State?
11-1. Indiana beat Ohio State for the Big Ten championship this past Saturday in a very exciting game.
Oh,
Indiana, right?
wow.
For a Notre Dame fan too, you're like shocked. You didn't even know Indiana had a football team.
Yeah, like why?
You thought the state-
How did they
the state-
recruit,
the
to
state-
be honest with you? No offense, Indiana.
Well, I mean, it's Indiana, right? They've got a legendary basketball program. You think of the state of Indiana.
Have you driven through it? though?
I've spent.
I'm kidding, Indiana.
No, I've spent a good. I spent a good amount of
Stop
time
it.
in
You sound
Indiana.
like a New Yorker.
Oh yeah.
You come from
Oh,
Michigan.
no.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I'm just a simple Michigan
How do you
kid.
think? How do you think these New Yorkers
You
treat
sound
us
like a New Yorker.
Michiganders?
Yeah.
How do you think he treats us Michiganders?
You know the expression New Yorkers have? This is a city in which they take up the streets at night. Again, 9 o'clock, all the streets are taken up. You can't even walk on the streets.
Right. Well, for New Yorkers, it's
So
basically.
is this overreaction to what this guy did? I mean, did he at first it sounded like he had some kind of inappropriate relationship with his teammates, or that he took advantage of a young girl.
No.
Is this what?
Well, there's probably some. I don't know if they call it a morality.
There's a
clause.
morality thing. What I'm trying to get a sense of the seriousness of it.
Oh,
What has the girl said?
the woman has not public. I have nothing from the
Oh.
woman. What I would say is that
She said nothing.
I would say there must be a lot more here, Mayor. Right? There must be more
Why?
to this
Why?
story.
I think they just don't want to pay him, and he had like you can't in this day and age have like a loving relationship with someone you work with.
Right. Well, and you got to remember, this is still a university campus. It's still
promoted wrong. Like
you can't. Yeah. Right.
Parents.
There's reasons why you cannot have why it's. They don't want to have. They have policies in place where you're not having. I hate to say it, sex with your subordinates. So right. It's a staff
where they've had a history of scandal, particularly sexual scandal.
They have.
In the certainly, Dr. Sorry,
that was Michigan State. Stevens bringing
none of these teams. That's the point, though. None of these teams are immune from that, and actually, it's
there must be. We know. Well, we've heard through reports and that for weeks now, and I talked to some people at the university today, Mayor, and there is more to come out on this, and there have been numerous complaints from people inside the building, the football building. For weeks now about the coach, and those complaints weren't necessarily directly tied to this incident, but
the guy who wants to be the coach has a problem with the coach.
Well, apparently he was berating assistants or acting in a way that was different than the previous, out of character for him, I should say.
So what's the full scope of what we know about this coach? He was having an affair with his assistant. Right?
That's the understanding.
Assistant.
What?
That's the understanding. We now have police audio. I'm going to pull that up when I can.
He's having an affair with his subordinate. As far as we know, it's consensual.
Yes, sir. But that's the thing. We don't know. I mean, you got to assume it.
Yeah. Sharon Moore was reportedly suicidal and wielding a knife shortly after he was fired.
He was breaking up with her.
And no, because he was fired.
Well, and because he's losing $40 million.
Yeah, I'm guessing the university finally had what they needed in terms of evidence to fire him for cause.
Where is his heart? With his wife or his mistress?
I don't know that I could say that, but I don't know.
Yeah, is this out of is he married?
No, what we know is that the university must have came across information that they were investigating this for weeks. The universities have been investigating this, and my understanding, and these are from people I've spoken with, he had passed. They had done an investigation and found no evidence of wrongdoing. And so he was cleared. Something happened Wednesday. Something came that was brought to the board's attention.
Yeah, it was quite clear they had lost at Ohio State.
We laugh, but that's a factor, right?
And it would how much would it cost him, Ted? How much would it cost him to just get rid of him?
The buyout for him would have been, and I'm going to get a full figure here. He was getting paid $6 million a year,
right? Not that much,
right? Well, compared to some coaches,
where did
now,
I hear the $40 million? I thought that's how much he was.
That would have that $40 million would have been the buyout then, of course, unless you're fired with cause. So they must have something that gives them cause.
No, they don't. They've been fumbling around forever.
They must have evidence, and then they're.
I don't make that assumption with these jackasses.
Yes,
they fumble around because they've always had the woke press on their side.
Right.
So they're gonna refuse. He's gonna sue them, right?
Oh yeah.
He's gonna sue them to get his buyout, right?
It could be great. He got a lot of people to sue. It'd be great case, federal case. It'd be really terrific.
Yeah. But you.
Well, on the merits, where are you at on the merits? So does he win the lawsuit?
What is
the claim?
Hypothetical facts.
We don't have all the facts. I was going to say we simply.
Let's set him up on the facts. Suppose this is just a simple case of the coach having an affair with his number two.
Number two, or it's an administrative assistant,
executive assistant.
I don't know. Number three, number four.
No. I'm saying right. Number two is like the offensive coordinator, right?
No.
You're talking subordinates.
His office.
Yes. Well, I want to make that distinction, right? I think that's important.
It's the lady that he spends probably the most time with. They have a very intimate working relationship. I know a lot of executives really treasure the relationship they have with their executive assistants.
So when you put it out, you put out all the material. You keep it separate. You put this out and you say, you make your own determination about this. Then all the people who support him will go on and say, isn't this a guy who was in love?
Yep.
I think you'll come to that conclusion.
That he was in love and he had a mental breakdown.
Yeah, it's a different kind
Well,
of
No
or was he trying to hide it? I want to know how it became.
And then we have to.
I can't. Go ahead, Mayor. I have some additional information.
We'll give it to us.
I shouldn't say that. I have heard some other things involving a donor. Whether an individual in this case had parents that were donors, whether it was a friend or someone connected, so somebody else caught wind of this and was on a mission internally
Trying to squash it, trying
to remove
bribe.
him, to remove Sharon Moore as the head football coach.
Okay, all right.
And of course,
We need to know more about it.
good. Keep it on us. Yeah. So
We need to know more about the girl's reaction, how she reacted to it. Was she consensual? Did she want to have sex with him?
right.
If
Right.
she's overage, that has to be taken into consideration.
Well, we
how bad this is.
She looks as though she's
well, yeah.
of
This
age.
remember. I mean, it's
What?
college, right?
They
So
look like
we
they're
aren't
of
talking.
age.
We're not talking high school here, right? So I think, right, that would
Yeah,
be a
the picture-
concern more if you're talking high school football. We are talking college.
Should we put up a picture of her?
Sure. We'll work on getting a picture. Bless you, Mayor. We'll work on that. Well, let's listen to the audio. I believe we have the audio. Give us 1 second here. Oh, come back to us. So again, just to wrap, to put a bow on this, and we'll get some more information in the future here. The head football coach of the University of Michigan was fired and then arrested hours later after being found wielding a knife, is how it's reported on police audio. He was wielding a knife.
What?
He was wielding a knife. He was arrested. He's still in jail. Sharon Moore is sitting in Washtenaw County Jail
What?
as we speak.
Wait.
I don't know. Did I make that? Did we make that part clear?
Is he wielding a knife?
He was wielding a knife, according to
And
police
doing what with it?
audio. Again, my understanding, and after talking to multiple people and reading, what we do know reported is that he was suicidal. I've heard additional things. I don't actually want to report it until,
Well,
we got to get a
suicidal
handle
can
on
be
it.
a tactic, it can be real.
It's a tactic. And in most cases, I would say in a situation between two lovers, I bet the statistics probably
But put it
bear
also,
out, right?
look at
It's
what-
much more of a tactic than a serious
You
threat.
had 10 digits of money, and then now you don't got that, right? So I mean,
Oh,
you gotta be-
yeah. Well, we're not in a position to know who is and who isn't like suicidal. That's a good point. That's why they treat every case.
How about her? We know anything about her?
We know very little about her.
She's pretty.
We know very little about her. And so we'll keep doing some.
We're gonna try it. We're gonna try to interview her and find out her side of the story.
Yeah, we should try to do that. But
With all
it's a
the
terrible
things we have
situation,
to
and I'm
think
sorry
about-
that.
all the things we have to think about. What a thing to have to go off on. Although it is important about sexual mores inside the United States, it is something that China is trying to destroy for us. But the question is, I wouldn't draw a conclusion on this guy right now. I really wouldn't. If you can maintain the American posture of innocent until proven guilty, if you can maintain the American posture of gentleness and fairness, let's give the guy a chance to explain what happened. Let's get all the facts, and then let's find out, was this a very understandable human situation he was lulled into, in which case, of course, maybe he shouldn't be a coach, because a coach shouldn't be that easily influenced. That's one thing. And two, let's find out about the young ladies, whether they would like to be the product of a better educational system, which may very well be the case.
Right.
And just for reference, this is the young.
Go back. I'll get a picture of her. I'll get a picture of her. Yep. So we'll stay on top of this. Sorry, we'll stay on top of this, and we'll have more tomorrow.
And I'm sure we will, and we'll find out a little bit more about her and how serious was this attempted attack on her. I don't know if it was an attack or was it an opportunity to persuade that failed. I don't know the answer to that. And I do know he has good judgment on football.
Yeah, right. Do you want to play if I find this audio call, should we play it?
Yeah.
Helpful?
Which one?
The 911 call.
Okay.
Well, I just need a second. We're bringing this up right now. So this is what we understand is a 911 call connected to this case. I apologize, folks. A lot of moving parts. believe I thought I had it. I think this is New York Post, and the New York Post has it here.
Oh, that's an interesting video.
Of the New York. No, I actually am very upset about that. I don't want to talk about it. Just trying to play this.
So who's the new coach?
It's a very interesting situation.
Did they do a vetting on him?
They have. Yeah, but I'll. Let's go ahead.
3280 Ann Arbor Lane, 3280 Ann Arbor Lane. Subject just called the caller and told her that the mail at the location and the house attacking her. The state's been stalking her for months.
I'm completing my follow-up. We're on the corner from that domestic in Texas.
6202. Go ahead. We're canceled here. Looks like the patient has already been transported. That's actually going to be UM, but if you want to head that way, it doesn't have to put it in my area.
Can't tell if you said that. They said he's a coach of UM.
That's been good too.
You want to come back to you? I can barely hear it.
That's the new coach?
No, this is one more. But can we come back to you?
Yeah.
Back to you.
Well, there he is at a point of confusion, I would imagine. So we know he's in custody. We know that he's going to be charged with. What's he going to be charged with?
Jack, up here, suspected I believe assault is what?
Suicide, rape?
Assault.
What do you normally? Is there some sort of just catch-all like disorderly conduct?
Yeah, but I mean that
You wouldn't be in jail.
that kind of takes it out.
Well, wielding a knife.
Oh yeah.
Wielding a knife starts to get you there.
But Washtenaw County is like one of these counties that's quite lefty.
Threatening,
So,
threatening with a deadly weapon.
but no, they're like New York, like
Yeah.
release them type people. Like shrooms are legal.
that'd be
and-
nice to make an interview.
Yeah, well, yeah. Granted, he's a public figure. It's a little bit different than the criminals being released, right? And it's a little bit of a different situation, but I get
But
what you're saying.
Washtenaw County, you got to admit.
Of course, of
Yeah.
course. And that is, like you said, though, that wokeness is what, look, the wokeness and
Are we
some
here
of the
without
some
it?
of the
Is it
DEI elements. I truly believe knowing the university a little bit. I did not attend. I have a lot of family that did. I was involved with student government at my school, so we went to Ann Arbor
Just
a
had a
lot.
Walmart
And even then, I'm trying to make. So even then, I knew, right, like how silly they were at Ann Arbor compared to the other schools. And so, without a doubt, they weighed his skin color, and I won't say how, but that his skin color mattered more than it should have, right? In every decision they made, from hiring him to firing him, and when to do it, because of how woke and how much DEI has infested Ann Arbor, Michigan.
and the university system overall,
Right.
of which Ann Arbor is just, the
Right.
monster, one of them.
And the one that sets the tone, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. They are the flagships
So
institution.
this
of
is
the state.
this is another red mark for Governor Gritholm.
Whitmer.
Whitmer.
Witless.
Oh, Governor
Witless
Witless,
Whitmer.
Whithole. Yeah, Whit no brains or whatever the hell she is. Did she go to college?
Yeah, she did. Michigan State.
Oh yeah, she's got a big
Is
family
she a
in the
lawyer?
Lansing area. I don't think she's a lawyer. She grew up
She
crawling on
was
the
a lawyer.
floor.
That's correct. She was a lawyer.
She was crawling
She
on the
was?
floor of Blue Cross Blue Shield. Her father was the CEO of the ever beloved Blue
That's a
Cross
health
Blue
insurance.
Shield health
So-
insurance
So
company.
everybody would appreciate they're killing him like they do Gangione. I mean, isn't that ridiculous? Gangione gets applauded for killing somebody who is not a bad guy, but doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
Things are getting rough around here.
Right.
Why do you think things are getting so rough? Why do we have-
Oh, that's a good question, Mayor. I'll tell you. I'll give you my 2 cents, just from observing and spending all this time with you, and we watch the news, like you said, every day, and being involved in politics in different parts of the country. There's one, the way we treat young men in this country, right? Even over the course of the past 20, 30 years, the way we've totally castrated, the idea of what it means to be a man in this country. I think social media and this culture, this materialistic culture, right? You need to have
general cultural rot.
yeah,
has been,
yeah, right, right. Cultural rot,
festering.
drugs, cultural rot, and it all goes back to cultural rot, right? The people that we're supposed to follow, whether it's on TV and the movies and sports. LeBron, for example, someone like LeBron James. Okay, so the guy's good at playing basketball, so now we're supposed to like take his advice on global affairs. But the left wing, they would tell us to, right? A lack of real. I mean, I don't want to bring you back into this, Mayor, but a lack of real role models and people that have actually accomplished something in life, right? People that are famous for accomplishing something in life.
A lack of knowledge of history.
That too, yeah.
Would probably be another one.
When we put people like LeBron, I don't want to just use LeBron James, but when we elevate people like LeBron James as the people we should be listening to, then you're going to lose all sense of history, right? Taylor Swift, we're supposed to listen to Taylor Swift
or Bad Bunny.
Yeah, or Bad Bunny.
Who is Bad Bunny?
The mayor.
Bad Bunny.
Get the
I
mayor.
don't know. I guess he's famous.
Apparently he's doing the halftime show. That's the halftime show guy who told us we got to learn Spanish if you want to.
In his defense, he gets a lot of listens.
Oh, he's very popular. He's very popular.
But I couldn't name a song, probably.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be going on all week, I guess, huh?
Yeah, and we're already at Thursday.
It's going to take away from all the substantive coverage, I guess. But
yeah.
But I mean, I think Green Bay was on its way to the Super Bowl.
In what respect?
Yes, well, I know, man.
Ted always thinks that. I know that.
They were going to win.
Yes, I have a feeling, and I had another friend do this earlier today. They mixed up my Packer fandom with my support for the University of Michigan Wolverines.
Mm-hmm.
What?
And?
So why are the Packers no longer going to the Super Bowl?
You tell me.
Oh. Okay, so now we're switching to the pros, right? We're switching to pro football now. The Green Bay Packers are arguably the number one, maybe number two team in football. They're coming off a big win against the Chicago Bears, and they're playing really well. And for sports fans out there, you'll understand this, right? My whole life has been Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers.
So you think this quarterback is good?
Jordan Love. And there's a lot of similarities about when these individuals won their first Super Bowl. Brett Favre, on his sixth season, he won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers, in his sixth season, he won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love is right now in his sixth season as a backup or start, right? He hasn't started all those years with the Green Bay Packers. Brett Favre came in. We brought in this coach, Mike Holmgren, but we needed a big defensive pickup. So who did we get? Reggie White, the Minister of Defense. Remember Reggie White?
Yeah, he was great.
He used to beat you guys up. Reggie White came in there. We needed that piece on defense. We had Brett Favre. We got Reggie White, won a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers. We needed somebody that could make turnovers. A Michigan man. Charles Woodson on defense. We went and got Charles Woodson. We won a Super Bowl. Now we're with Jordan Love. We need a pass. We needed to pick up our pass rushing. What do? We went out and got Micah Parsons, the number one pass rusher available in free agency. And so a lot of things are lining up. Mayor, for this to be a Super Bowl year for the Packers.
So if they don't win the Super Bowl, you say they're going to get into the playoffs.
Yes, they are. They are going to the playoffs. They're already.
So
they're not in yet, but yes, I mean, they probably have to lose the rest.
So what happens this weekend so that we can wrap up for our diehard football fans
for this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, we have the big Army-Navy game, which I think all Americans. Give us a story. How many Army-Navy games have you been to?
3 or 4. The last one with the president.
With President Trump, right?
Yeah, I love the Army-Navy game.
Yeah, that's in Baltimore this Saturday. One of my great regrets in life, I turned down an opportunity to go when I lived in D.C. There were some other factors at play, but I do wish I went.
It's an experience. It's a great thing to see.
Right.
It's our future. It's the people who are going to protect us and keep us alive. It's the people that we don't give enough attention to.
Right.
That we should give enough attention to them. They're wonderful people and great people. And the game is always so heavily fought. Oh, wow. And they put such rules and restrictions on it.
Okay.
They want them to play it. Oh, no, you have to stop here. Yeah. I didn't ask you a question.
You can hand that over here if you need to.
We shut her up. Okay. So now let's talk about our podcast.
Let's do it.
Tell them what it's about, Ted.
Sorry, just trying to get a couple. So we have a great podcast out by the mayor, and it really focuses in on the curious case of Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes, of course, and for even the past year or so, right? You've probably heard his name more and more. It used to be just the left, the media would use Nick's
What was
name.
his involvement in January 6th?
That I don't know. He may have been there.
He gave a speech there.
So he was there. That's interesting. I don't know if he was ever charged. So Nick Fuentes. Now, I'd caution folks, even if you do happen to agree with some of what he's saying, keep in mind how it tends to go with these podcasters, right? They may say one or two things you agree with. But do you really know the person you're listening to? I mean, we see somebody like Candace Owens, right? You see someone like Candace Owens now who's out there saying the terrible and disgusting things she's saying, clearly for clicks, for attention, right? For these different things. And you know what? I'm not going to use the word disgusting. I think what she's saying is irresponsible, right? I try to take emotion out of it because to combat what we're facing with some of these things, I think it's important to try and speak to the ones who are, kind of following that path. Or they look at someone like Candace, right? If I just call them all, if I just say Candace is, what she's saying is stupid, or if you say something like that, sometimes you actually encourage those folks. You turn off the folks that you're trying to win back over, right? Right. So if I were to look at Nick Fuentes, young kid, younger than me, but I remember his name, and I know, Mayor, we haven't talked much about this. I started with the Daily Caller in 2016.
Well, I've heard his name from the beginning, heard it, but never really spent a lot of time thinking about it.
2016, 2015, 2016. And that's when Nick Fuentes came on the scene. I got to look back at my notes and just stuff from when I was with the Daily Caller. I worked for Tucker Carlson.
Sure he popped in a few times.
I bet you I met the guy.
Yeah.
Who?
Nick Fuentes.
I bet he was in the office every now
Oh,
and then.
cool.
Yeah.
Maybe at the maybe he was covering
Charlottesville. Maybe he
wasn't necessarily covering Charlottesville, just kind of
participating in Charlottesville. So we have this great podcast. We're gonna play some of it shortly here. We'll have it up here right after the show. Just go over to subscribe on X and we'll put it up. But the mayor really picks it apart piece by piece. We have some fun with it. We do, right? Of course, you have to.
I think it's worth watching.
But it's worth watching because
you have a real substantive piece on which you can solidify your arguments that this guy should not be symbolizing the Republican Party or the Republican National Committee.
And
Unless you want to lose.
And it's not about the name calling. And like I said, we had some fun with it at times. There were some moments that you can't help but laugh.
We tried to reduce it.
Right. It reduces, but the mayor doesn't push back. The mayor responds with facts, right? He responds with what he knows about history. That's the only way to do it, as Steven said. And so I'd encourage anyone who's getting frustrated, right, especially on the right, even within our whole conservative movement, right? If there's something someone's saying you disagree with, or they're taking an entire path you disagree with, in order to defeat that, if you want to defeat that, you gotta come up with a coherent argument, as the mayor does every step of the way, right? Nobody's surprised by that. And that's how you win people over. That's how I feel we win people over in this respect, especially with what we're facing. Because there's a huge fight happening right now in the movement. And it's not even a two-sided fight, right? I think there's just a lot of anger, a lot of bitterness with Charlie's death, whether it's Charlie's death or just generally speaking, right? We won in 2024. So now what, right? We all accomplished that. That's like the dog catching the car. What's the saying?
Yeah,
the dog catches the car, right? So it's like, there's some of that at play. So now we're all getting back to infighting. But there are some larger issues, and it does involve, and this isn't, and I'm not accusing Nick of this. I actually don't think Nick would be supportive of something like this. But there are outside influences, whether it's the Democrat Party, special interest groups, foreign governments who are attempting to inject chaos and sow division among the conversations. Right. Yeah, divide and conquer. So a lot of that's happening right now too.
So you stay on here, and I tell you, you'll get a very, very good analysis of everything from America's Mayor Live and from our podcast. Because with our podcast, we go into greater detail on all of this. And you can imagine next week we will go into greater detail on all of this.
Yeah, we got
right now, I want you to concentrate on Ukraine and what happened there and how that reduced our defenses immeasurably and reduced our leverage immensely to save the United States and the world from a possible nuclear war started by this madman. So we'll be back with you. We'll be back with you tomorrow night,
God willing,
and we'll be back at 7 on Mike's TV.
Yep.
Lindell TV.
On Lindell TV. Then we'll be back here on X at 9, and
at 8 too.
And we're back at we are on at 8. We'll be on at 8, and then we'll be on through 9 because we always go over a little bit.
Oh, we'll be on
Soccer time, which is becoming even more relevant as
We
the
always
World
call
Cup
it-
approaches, baby.
So we may have to call it football.
Football time. Football.
I would like to do a once a week sports show
Do a
with
football,
you, man.
huh?
I
Well,
think
we may
should
do that. We may
Well,
do
I
that.
don't
Well,
know if
as
we
the
have to
World
talk.
Cup, comes in,
We will.
I
We'll
think
do
that
a
we have
World Cup. Yep.
Oh,
We have an interesting angle
Yes,
here.
yeah,
We got to start now so we get good. So by the time
kick.
I like that, Steven, because we want to get good. We got to be real good by the time the
Well, I
matches
should
come up.
tell you,
And they're
I am
matches, not
sensitive-
games.
I am sensitive to anything that is false, and the description of the game of football is a false description.
Yes, no feet.
So you seem to be in the camp
No,
of
I haven't made up my mind. You got to all think about the tradition, and do you change it, and how does it confuse people, and what will it do? But is there a good argument for changing it? Yes, there is a good argument. Not just a crazy wacko argument.
right.
So like getting the language confirmed with reality.
Right. That's a
So-
good and they call it soccer in other places. I did look that up. We were talking to
Canada's
talking to Andrew, and you guys were and I looked it up, and it's not just Canada. It's parts of Asia, and other parts of the world
What parts of Asia?
where Australia. In addition to, I'm not saying they're part of, but parts of. Let me get the other parts where. So I mean, look, the United States, Canada, as we said, South Africa, soccer, Australia, soccer.
They don't call it football in there.
Australia, they don't call it football.
Yeah.
They call it soccer. Sorry. The term soccer is used in the US, Canada, Australia, South Africa.
Yeah. So what? I guess the other reaction is there's a little confusion about this. So what? So we're going to ask you to pray for the people of Israel and the people of Iran. Special prayers out there in harm's way, right in the middle of it, particularly with the deals that are being done on arms, which aren't as large as they were thought to be. And then we want you to pray for the people of Iran so they can liberate themselves from the reign of terror of the people of the United States so we can remain steadfast and more united. And also, of course, we pray to you, dear God, because you gave us all of this. And we appreciate it. God bless America.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk,